Now, today's discussion, it will be more towards on the funding side. Funding meaning that the cash flow, the amount that you're going to invest in your smart forward or in your smart manufacturing project. Our sharing topic for today is get funding for your smart forward project as low as 2% per annum. Now, let's get started with our forum over here. Okay, let me introduce myself. I am Keng Teck, your host and moderator. Now, give me an opportunity to reintroduce Smart Forward for those who have just come in for the first time. This is our 6th series. We have 5 series before. So Smart Forward is a collaborative initiative to accelerate the journey towards the smart manufacturing. The objective of Smart Forward, okay, is to address manufacturers' concerns and challenges to adopt Industry 4.0. Now, business can get into the Industry 4.0 related articles, case studies, events, solutions from our web portal, which is smartforward.my, SMART, number 4, numerical 4, WRD.my, okay, and our newsletter as well. So I believe some of you all might have continuously received our bi-weekly newsletter to give you updated with the trend, with the announcement, with the news about the Industry 4.0. Now, Smart Forward also organize webinars like what we have today, corporate visits, surveys, and consultation services to bridge the gap of the SMEs embarking into the smart manufacturing journey. Now, let me introduce a bit in terms of this web forum. Now, this is our 5th series already. We have discussed, this is our 6th series. In our 5th series, we have discussed about the talent, upskilling and reskilling to prepare the business to move forward with smart manufacturing. For those who missed it, you can view it in the Smart Forward YouTube. So do go to the Smart Forward YouTube. Okay, we have compiled a series of our Smart Forward web forum, as well as there are a lot of videos about the case studies in terms of what other companies have done embarking into the smart manufacturing. So you can have some clue, have some learning from there. So do visit the Smart Forward YouTube as well. Now today we have only one speaker. Okay, most of the time we have 2 speakers, one from the solution provider and then one from the case study from the manufacturers. But today is a little bit special. Today we are talking about finance, and today we have a handsome and charming speaker over here from Cofundr. Okay, he is Keagan Leng. Keagan, say hello, Keagan.
Hi everybody, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon to you, Keagan. Now, Keagan brings with him the various business strategic and consulting experience gained from Essential Solution Malaysia, Premium Capital Partners, L3 Consulting, spanning across various industries from the finance, automotive, auto parts into the digital marketing. Now, basically, he understands a lot in terms of business, especially on the finance side, which I am not familiar with. So in terms of the calculation, I'm very bad with money. That's why that I cannot save much money for my future. So still need to earn more and still need to work hard, like everyone of us over here. Now, I had a few meetings with Keagan. I found that he is not only a good person that can empathize on the challenges and the what the SMEs are facing. He is also very creative in terms of the coming up with solution to help the SMEs. Now I see LH Tan over here raising your hand. I'm not so sure why. Maybe later you can actually type into the chat box. Then we will address your concern over there. Okay, LH. Now, before we start the session, is our ritual that we're gonna take a group photo. This is also an opportunity for me and for the speaker to know who are here right today for us to get to know each other, because nothing beats physical meetings, but we have it online right now, at least that we can see each other's face so that we can network better. Now, I would like to request everyone to turn on your video so that we can see everyone over here, and my colleague Penny would actually help to take a group photo for us. Appreciate if every one of you can actually turn on your video camera. We have Sivan Sivakaran have not turned it on, JSH, Rukumani, who else? We have Frank Tan, Serene Lim, Danny Bo, Shaira, Vincent Lam, King Hong, Haziq, Elijah, Janet, Ahmad Kamal. Well, I'm very happy that today we still got a quite number of the participants. Thank you very much for continuing to support Smart Forward. We are not trying to sell anything over here. We are trying to find you the solution for you to embark into the Industry 4.0. So please do open up your video so that we can see everyone. Penny, I would hand over to you to coordinate this. Penny?
Yeah, okay. Hi everyone, good afternoon. So please turn on your cam and then maybe I'll take some screenshots. Okay, so I see most of you guys already open up.
Wow. It is a really happy Raya. A lot of people really have a good rest.
Okay, please hold your smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more.
Yeah.
Okay, second page.
We got Serena from NCER. Thank you very much, Serena, for coming in.
Yeah, okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Now, let's get back to business. Now, what we are going to do today is that now I just repeat what is our focus for today. Our focus for today is the topic is about financing. Now, a lot of the companies lack financing to proceed with the project. Now, what we are going to do is that we're going to let Keagan to present how he will be able to help the SME manufacturers. Then to present it out, then later on we'll have a short dialogue. Do drop in your questions into the chat box, and my colleague will actually compile it and forward for me to have the discussion. Now, today's topic is very important, as we are going to deal with the common challenges faced by SMEs, which is cash flow. Now, from what I have gathered, because I sit in this technical committee of the Industry Forward Readiness Assessment Program, there are more than 200 companies. There are more than 200 companies approved with the Industry Forward Intervention Fund. There are more than that, 200 already. Approximately 1,100 companies has been approved with the Readiness Assessment Report. Now, yet from the voice from the ground, actually I do go down for engagement session. Quite a number of the SMEs indicated that they have not started the project yet. Okay, despite that they have gotten the grant approved, they either not started the project or the project will be delayed. Now, financial capability is definitely one of the main reasons for it, because after the 2 years pandemic, okay, last 2 years is very hard. When you apply for the grant, it was the 2020 or 2021. Now, right now you have changed your business model, you have different priority. You might want to allocate your funds for different purposes. So some companies, especially the SMEs, lack of the cash flow to allocate to fund the project for the smart manufacturing. Despite that, under the Industry Forward Intervention Fund, the government will actually give you the first 30% of the approved grant first. But yet you still need the balance of the cash flow to spend first before you can actually claim back balance of the grant money after you have completed your smart manufacturing project. Now, that duration might be 6 months, might be 12 months, or it might even be longer. The question is that how can we actually get this project to be financed if I don't have enough cash flow? There are few alternatives. One is that you can go to commercial bank. But for commercial bank, right now, you're not buying machine. Commercial bank will take some time, or they might be a little bit rigid in terms of offering you loan. Another one that you can go for is the MIDF. MIDF also got a very good loan scheme for you to do that. And today also that we have a Cofundr, because Cofundr have come forward after I have highlighted the challenges of the SMEs. Before I invite Keagan to present how they can help to solve the issue, I would also like to thank these companies, which is the participating smart forward drivers, namely Aeresis Industries, Emerging EPC, Monitor ERP, and of course Cofundr themselves for supporting this new program that Keagan is going to present to you to address the pain points of the SMEs manufacturers. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Keagan to show us what he has to offer, or what Cofundr has to offer to address the financial concern of the SMEs who is embarking into the smart manufacturing journey. Keagan, I pass the session to you.
All right, thank you very much, Keng Teck, for the introduction and also the brief introduction about Smart Forward initiative. Now, I very much agree with Keng Teck that being an SME where you're adopting Industry 4.0 into your business, you have been faced with numerous challenges and also several concerns that you might have. Now, one thing is the talent, which they have addressed in the previous webinar session. Now, today we are going to address another concern that SME might face when adopting into Industry 4.0, which is cash flow, your finances of your business finances. Understand that under this initiative, the government, MIDA has already will grant some funds for your adoption towards the Industry 4.0. However, the funds scheme structure is being that they will disperse the first 30% for you to kickstart the project. Now, however, the balance of the 70% of the approved intervention fund will only comes in after your implementation. Now, I believe that Keng Teck has shared very good statistics that there's over 200 approved funds right now, SME with approved funds from MIDA. And then there's over 1,000 plus IA report being issued, okay, which these SME are ready to move forward with a Industry 4.0 adoption. However, something must be hindering them. Now, if one of the challenges that you're facing, if you're one of them, the challenges that you're facing is financial. Now, hopefully this session, you could bring something valuable back today. And hopefully, you can engage with us and see how we can assist you on this. All right. Now, without much further ado, let me share my slides, what I'm going to talk about today. Just give me a second. Now, with this, can everyone see my screen?
Yes,
right.
Okay, great.
Right, thank you. Now, our topic today is accelerate your smart manufacturing towards Industry 4.0 with Cofundr. All right. Now, as you know, just a very brief introduction, Cofundr is actually a P2P crowd financing platform working on our platform for CrowdSense Sdn Bhd. So our company is CrowdSense Sdn Bhd, and the platform name that we are operating is called Cofundr without the E. Okay. Now we are a licensed fintech company that's registered with Securities Commission Malaysia, or SC Malaysia, as a recognized market operator, RMO in short form, for P2P crowd financing, which is regulated under the Capital Market Services Act. Now, the Capital Market Services Act is the same regulations that is being imposed on stockbroking or any investment that go through SC. So we are no difference. We are also so-called licensed by SC, a fintech company that's licensed by SC. Now, Cofundr started in year 2020, and coming this July will be 2 years old for Cofundr. So we're still relatively new. However, the management team of Cofundr, if you go to our website, you can see that most of them has more than 20 to 30 years of experience in banking industry. Yeah. Now, when we talk about fintech company, of course, we deliver our solutions via our platform and with regulatory and technology compliance, which is go through the SC compliance, the security, cyber security assessment by SC. So what we do is all, when we talk about fintech company, your SME comes to get funding or even investing into our nodes is all being done via online, via a platform. So it's very convenient, right? And I'm proud to announce as well that coming in June, our Cofundr mobile app will be launched. Now, hopefully during that time, this mobile app could create more convenience for all of us or for our investors who has been with us. Yeah. Now, the objective of this is why Cofundr participated in this industry smart forward initiative is because that it's the same. We found that the objectives is very similar to why we started Cofundr. Now, Cofundr started with P2P is because we want to bridge the gap. We want to build, help SME to build the backbone economy of Malaysia. And then coincidentally, when Keng Teck came and talked to us about this initiative, we found that it's very similar. This is where we can also play our part as a P2P operator to support the SME in adoption of the industry forward initiatives. Right now, then with this, right, Keng Teck told me, some of the challenges that's been facing by the SMEs in the journey of adoption or in the journey of or automation of their business. That's where we think that, hey, why not we come in to provide as an alternative source of financing to SME, with affordable financing costs. Now, when it comes to affordable financing costs, this is where me and Keng Teck and a few smart forward participation drivers, right, crack our head, work out some model in order to make this financing, the alternative source of financing for SME to adopt the industry 4.0, right, to make them affordable and it's not burning up their pocket or burning up their costs, because they are already faced with so many challenges. We don't want to continue to burden them with that. So we think that, how can we do that? Now, if you look at this, right, this slide, just to show you, what we offer under the Smart Forward program in very generic, right, or summary, right, is that we provide funding to kickstart your Industry 4.0 adoption. So we're going to finance, right, your funds to kickstart the adoption of industry or Smart Forward Industry 4.0 project, right, up to 500,000 or 80% of the total project cost, whichever is lower, right? Now, the second thing is that like I mentioned, then we say we don't want to burden the SME. So what we come up with is like, why don't we come up with a financing cost as low as 2% per annum? Now, that wouldn't happen without the support of some of the smart forward participating drivers, such as what Keng Teck has mentioned, emerging EPC, aerospace industries, and monitor ERP system. They have agreed, this is something that they want to work out to get things moving for the SME or for the manufacturing sector in Malaysia. So they said, come on, let's do it with the financing cost as low as 2%. Now, while we subsidize partial of the rest of the balance of the financing costs. Okay. Now, with that, right, then we also understand that the funds, the intervention funds from MIDA. When we look at the scheme, we understand that the scheme structure was like they're going to disperse the upfront 30%, which is of the 500,000, right? And subsequently, after implementation and completion of project and subject to evaluation, then they go on and disperse the balance of the 70%. So we said, okay, this could be one of it that we put it into this one of the criteria in order when any manufacturing or SME comes to Smart Forward program that they will get funding to kickstart their project. Right, so this is where we always say in our line of business or P2P, bridging the gap. Okay, so we provide you the funds to kickstart, and we bridge the gap while you're waiting for the balance of the funds being dispersed to you by MIDA. Okay, now also I will take this opportunity to also introduce some of the financing product that we offer, because Cofundr is a P2P operator in Malaysia, one of the 11 P2P operators in Malaysia. So what we offer also is business financing. It's a financing program to assist SME on their business expansion, on their business growth, and payable financing. Now, the second product that we offer is also one of our unique selling product, is our insurance premium financing. Now, we understand that being an SME, especially in the manufacturing sector, you are being sometimes you're required to purchase some business insurance to protect your business assets or your business. So these form of insurance, usually we call it general insurance, requires the SME or the owners to pay upfront. Now, this we can help you to finance the insurance premium and free up your cash flow so that you can use your cash flow on the other on your business, while we pay for the insurance and you pay us back on the monthly installment. Now, more information about these two financing program could be found on our website at cofundr.com.my. Yeah. Now, moving on, when we talk about project financing under the Smart Forward program, now, of course, you'll be asking, what is the eligibility that I could get financing from Cofundr under this program? Now, these are some things that we highlight here. First of all is that you must be approved for the Industry Forward Intervention Fund from MIDA, which is what we have mentioned earlier, the 500,000 intervention fund from MIDA, the grant, right? And then SME that subscribe to the services from the participating Smart Forward Industry 4.0 drivers, you are then your interest rate is being subsidized, which is you can get financing for as low as 2% per annum for you to kickstart your Industry 4.0 journey. Now, of course, at the end of the day, it's all subject to financing health assessment by Cofundr credit team. This is more like, we just want to check whether the directors, because we as a regulated market operator, we are required to do an assessment on the any issuer or SME that comes in and get funding, right? Whether their directors have any AMLA or PEP, political exposed person, or whether it's an anti-money laundering before we can onboard them. So this is more like a regulated requirement by SC when we are the P2P operator. Now, the maximum of financing can go up to 500,000 or 80% of the project cost, whichever is lower, right? However, this project financing under Smart Forward initiative will be valid until 31st of August 2022. Now, for those who is here today and you have gotten your approved intervention fund from MIDA, but you have not kickstart yet your adoption or your project, this could be an opportunity for you to come and talk to us after this webinar session, where we see how we can help you in terms of funding part, right? So, it's very hard for you to understand when I just say that, the funding to go as low as 2% per annum, how does this work? Now, I have prepared some illustration here. It's not rocket science. It's just basically, if you follow me closely with this, you can understand that how does this work. Now, this is on the assumption that you come in and as a normal SME, not under the Smart Forward program, all right? So the project cost that for you to adopt the Industry 4.0 is 720,000. Now, the intervention fund from MIDA, is 500,000. Now, as we all know, the upfront disbursement from MIDA is 30%, which is 150,000 for you to kickstart the adoption Industry 4.0. And then Cofundr comes up with 80% of margin and financing, which is 80% of the 456,000. That's the 80% margin of financing from Cofundr. Now, then SME would have to come up with the fund of 220,000 upfront. Okay. Now, if you add this all up together, it will be 720,000, enough for you to kickstart your project. However, if you look at it, the financing cost is 7%. Now, why is it 7%? As I mentioned, this is on a normal circumstances where you don't come in under the Smart Forward program umbrella, right? Normal tenure, we talk about the tenure is 12 months, and we use the illustration of the payment terms with the system integrator or the participating drivers or the system provider, right? Solutions provider is 4 payments schedule, all right, split by quarterly. Now, if I put this on the table, all right, if I put this on the table, this is how it looks like. Now, above here, you have 12 months tenure, which is the first month all the way to 12 months, right? The payment to SI is where the solutions integrator will come and charge you, system integrator come and charge you when they bill you. So we split up to 4 payment bills, right, on a quarterly basis, right? So this is the 150,000 where you get the initial disbursement of the intervention fund from MIDA, the 30% of the intervention fund. So it's 150,000, right? Now 720,000 minus 150,000, you got a balance due to the system integrator, which is 570,000. Now comes the third month where the SI will bill you the second for the project that has been carried on. Here in the month 1, you already kickstart your project. On the month 3, they bill you after progressive payment, after 30% of completion implementation, or after buying hardware, right? Now that's where you needed this funding. Now that's where SME will come up with the 20%, okay, of the 142,500, which is 28,500. Now Cofundr will finance 80% of this amount here, right? That comes up equivalent to 114,000. Now your interest payable 6,650. This is based on the 2% per annum over the number of months from month 3 all the way to month 12, right? So you are paying 6,650 for this. Now subsequently moving on to the second payment milestone.
That one is not 2%, right? That one, this is the normal rate for the.
Oh yeah, 2%. Sorry, this is a 7%. Yeah, thank you for correcting me. Now this is a 7% per annum over the period of 10 months from month 3 all the way to 12, right? Subsequently, it's the same. The second payment tenure, right? The second payment milestone comes in, which is 142,500. That's where from 427,500 balance due to the SI will be reduced to 285,000. Same concept apply, where SME comes up with the 20% and Cofundr comes up with the 80% of the 142,500. And then the interest payable based on the 7% for this payment is 4,655. Now you can see that there's a difference because the tenure is shorter for this. It's over 7 months from month 6 all the way to 12, right? So shorter tenure, the interest rate is lower, right? Now this is what then subsequently moving to the third payment, it will be the same scenario applies, but the interest payable is 2,660. And the final where the balance due to the SIs is zero rise, that's where your interest payable, the last interest payable is 665. If you add up the total all interest payable is 14,630 ringgit. This is the effective interest rate over the period of years, because you don't get funding on you get funding only when the SI invoice you on the project implementation or the payment milestone terms. That's why if you take 14,630, all right, over the total funding provided by Cofundr, 456,000 here, all right, is actually 3.21% effective interest rate. So though we say it's 7% per annum, but if you look at it, how this works, it's actually 3.21% effective interest rate, total interest payable by SME. Right now, if I move on to the next one, illustration on the repayment for SME under the Smart Forward program. You look at it, all things remains the same. All right. Project cost remains the same, intervention fund from MIDA, the upfront disbursement, 80% of margin financing upfront for SME. Now, the financing cost here, if you look at it, is 2%. Now, if you see here, this only applies to SME that subscribe services with participating Smart Forward Industry 4.0 drivers. This is why is it being so much difference compared to the earliest one? Is because the interest rate are being subsidized by the Smart Forward Industry 4.0 drivers as well as us in Cofundr, right? This is because we think that it's important for us to do something to help you kickstart your adoption Industry 4.0, right? Now, same tenure over 12 months, payment terms is 4 payments scheduled by split quarter. Now, I'm going to bring you to this table. The amount here, you see there's no difference. It remains the same as earlier, just now. Same as this, the amount that comes out by the SME and the Cofundr. What sets the difference is the interest payable by the SME. As you can see, it has been reduced a lot. This is 2% per annum. And if you calculate all 4 interest payments, the effective interest rate, the total interest payment by SME under this program is 4,180. If you take it against the funding cost of 456,000, it's actually 0.92% effective interest rate. Okay, so it's actually, we say it's 2% per annum, but the interest payable by the SME is actually 0.92% if you take a look at this calculation. So far, okay? All right, now, of course, there are some the Keng Teck come and ask me, say, hey, Keagan, not all projects got to be the period of 12 months, some could be much shorter. Some drivers also that I have spoken to told me that, oh, I can implement the project for the SMEs within 6-month time frame. Now, I do another assumption with this. Everything remains the same again. It's just the tenure being shorter and the payment terms with the system integrator. Instead of 4 payment terms right now, we break it into 2 payment schedule. Now, this is a normal scenario where the interest rate is 7% per annum. Now, just bear in mind, this 7% per annum is not a fixed interest rate that we give to all SME. This is just for illustration purposes. Actual interest rate may differ based on the assessment, the credit assessment by our Cofundr credit assessment team. Right? So for illustration purposes, I've used the 7% per annum here. Now the tenure is 6 months. Same thing applies. The 150,000 initial disbursement from the intervention fund from MIDA comes in, right? And then you have the balance due of 570,000. And that's where you break it down into 2 payments. It will be 285,500 per payment terms. Okay. Now then subsequently, the first payment comes in, the invoice comes into SME. SME will have to fork out 557,000, right? Where Cofundr will come up with 228,000, which is 80% of 285,500. That's where your interest payable is 9,310, right? Subsequently, moving the second payment term where you zeroize the balance due to the solutions provider. Now, SME comes up the same 20% of 285,500. And Cofundr comes up with the 80%, the interest payable is 1,330. If you add this up together, the total interest payable by SME is equivalent to 10,640. Now that is, if we talk about it again, the effective interest rate is actually 2.33%, okay, over the total funding cost of 556,000, which is 80% of the total project cost. Yeah. Now, what if I apply this same scenario again to the Smart Forward program, right? As you can see, the financing cost again is 2.20% per annum, right? The tenure is 6 months and the payment schedule remains the same, 2 payment schedule. Now, when I put into this, same things applies here, 20% upfront by the SME, 80% funded by Cofundr, right? That's where your interest payable for the first billing is 2,660. Subsequently, on the balance payment, the interest payable is only 380, right? Now, if you add this up together, the total interest payable by the SME is 3,040 ringgit, where the effective interest rate is 0.67%. So far, okay? All right, great. Now, of course, then we ask, what if there is a delay, when there's a delay in project, sometimes we know. Now, bear in mind that these are for illustration purposes where all scenarios are perfect. Now, of course, when the payment to SI differs, right? Let's say instead of 2 payment terms, maybe they collect here the first payment, which is more than 150,000, and then subsequently the balance payment on the month end, then the whole working will have to be different. Okay, but the interest payable is always, we kept it at 2% per annum, all right, based on the tenure that you require the funds, because we work very closely with some of the participating drivers, the Smart Forward participating drivers. Now, when they bill you or bill the SME, that's where when the SME require the funding, that's where we work out the funding here by the 80% margin of financing rule of 500,000, whichever is lower. Yeah. So far, I hope everyone's following. Now, how does this work? Just a very brief summary of the whole process. Right. First of all, the SME applies for the MIDA intervention fund. Right. That's where MIDA approve and disperse the 30%, which is I've illustrated on the table just now, the 150,000. And then SME will submit all the documents to Cofundr and get approval for project financing up to 80% of the total project cost, of up to 500,000, capped at 500,000, whichever is lower, all right? And then subsequently, that's where, we will submit the payables for financing as when the cost incurred. So SME will come in and say, let's say, for example, Monitor ERP system has charged me on the 3rd month, I require financing on this. And based on that invoice, how much is that financing they require? That's where they submit to us and we start raising funds from our investors at Cofundr. We crowd raise the financing amount. Now, after we crowd raise the financing amount, the funds will be dispersed directly to the drivers or to the solutions providers. right? Now, however, as you can see, the SME will have to come up with their own funds as well. So when we disperse to the drivers, right, it's only 80% of the margin of financing. There's another 20% balance where the SME will need to pay to the drivers directly on this. Yeah. Now, when it comes to repayment process, same thing, right? SME completes the industry forward project, right, and subsequently submit for MIDA to approve and disperse the balance of the 70% to the SME. That's where the SME will make the repayment to Cofundr from the balance disbursement and also top up the remaining balance because MIDA grant is capped at 500,000 and they disperse the 30% upfront, which is 150,000. So the balance of 70% is actually 350,000. Now, we Cofundr, taking the illustration earlier, which I shared, right, is 456,000. So you have to take that the 456,000 minus the balance 70% from MIDA, right? There's still a shortage of 106,000 that the SME required to pay back to Cofundr, right? Once it pays back to Cofundr, that's where we pay back to our investor who has where we crowd raised during the fundraising campaign. Okay. So far, I hope everyone is following. Now, of course, then after I presented this, you will be asking, oh, what is the process like, or how long is the process to get funding, right? If I apply this kind of funding with Cofundr. Now, the projected timeline, the indicative timeline is shown here. Now, if it's an online application, all right, with complete documentation, with the scenario of complete documentation, we take 3 days, okay, to approve your application or reject, so to speak. So we just need 3 days to evaluate your case, if provided that all documentation is complete. Now, once we approve, that's when we start the 14 days fundraising campaign via our investors. Okay, which means we'll put up your notes, we call it investment note, into our platform for our investor to invest in it. Now, after it's fully subscribed, 100% being fund crowded by our investors, and we take another 3 days to disperse, to do a pre-disbursement checking. That's where we need another sets of documentation from the SME to check make sure to ensure the bank account is correct, to ensure that receiving bank and everything, and that's where we will disperse the money. And then from then on, once we disperse the money, that's where the applicable financing rate starts at 2% per annum. Yeah. So this is the whole process and the illustration that I would like to share today. Now, I thank you for your time. I open now we'll open the floor to some questions if there's any. Yeah.
Now, Keagan, let me there are a lot of information over there that let me just try to consolidate what is it now. Someone we need to correct me if I'm wrong. There are a lot of information, there are a lot of percentage over here. Now, for the companies, especially the SMEs who wanted to embark into the industry 4.0, number one, you definitely will be encouraged to participate in the industry forward readiness assessment program.
Correct.
So for you to know where you are, what is your gap, what is your opportunity, and this readiness assessment program, which is worth 20,000, is fully subsidized by the government, and you can apply it through MPC. So that's the first step.
All right.
With that, then your assessment being done by the assessor body, be it TUB, so be it SIRIM, be it MIMOS, be it RESPECT, and so forth. Okay. Then there will be a report will be churned out. The report churned out to tell you where you are, what you can do, which you have again 2 options. One option is that you go and you have your own financial capability. You can do it by yourself. Okay, you can appoint whoever service provider. Another option is that you would actually apply the industry forward intervention fund via MIDA, and to do that you will need to submit in your quotation, your technical proposal to MIDA for the evaluation. And what can you get from MIDA? The MIDA basically is that what you can get is that is 70 70% from the government, 30% from the SMEs, up to the maximum of 500,000 ringgit. Okay, so let's say, for example, if your project is just 100,000, then 70,000 from the MIDA, 30,000 from you. Okay, that is amount of investment that you need to invest now, which is 30% from your own pocket. But today we are talking about cash flow also. So the amount to invest is actually like the 70-30. You come up with the 30% of the project up to the maximum of the 500,000 by the government. But the thing is that you will still need to fund or finance this project. You need to have cash flow. So what if you do not have cash flow? Right now, what Keagan is saying is that you can actually opt for financing through Cofundr, and opt for the finance Cofundr. There are two options as well. Number one, if you have, if currently you're already engaging some other service provider or technology provider, you can actually still go to Cofundr, okay, to get the financing, but the rate will be in average of 7%. So it all depends on your credit rating and so forth. This is how the P2P financing works. It's approximately there, 7%. And you can see that the amount is the cost based on the project size of 720,000. The cost is about 14,000. Keagan?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is option one. Option two is that, well, you said that, I think that some of the service provider from the Smart Forward initiative are quite good as well. Might be a good option. So maybe you might want to go, if you want ERP, you might want to go for Monitor ERP. You want MES, you might go for Aresys. You want IIoT data generation, you might go to the emerging EPC and so forth. So you have interest in that. And if you go over there, then you basically can reduce your cost of fund from in the average of 7% to 5%. How does it work? Is that the participating Smart Forward Industry 4 drivers will subsidize part of the cost of funds or interest rate. Now, the intention, correct me if I'm wrong, Keagan, intention is that I think the whole idea is to find some way to minimize the reasons why a company should not start their smart manufacturing journey. Okay, so you have your assessment supported by government. You have your report to tell you where you are, what you can do. You have so many of the service provider out there that you can look from the Smart Forward or the Bizsphere. Okay, then right now you can have a financing. If your cash flow is not enough, you can have financing to finance your project cost. So what would be any other reasons for you not to start your smart manufacturing journey, so to be more competitive, that you will be able to reduce your labor costs, your wastage in your utility, your quality issues, and of course your marketability. So this would be it. But so the whole thing, the whole initiative is that what the Smart Forward is trying to do is to find what are the pain points that you have, and we will try to find whatever solutions so that you can actually benefit from it. Okay, so this is what Keagan has been mentioned. Now, before the questions from the participants, please, anyone who have any questions, okay, be it from your stage of applying, already apply, approve, right now you have financial challenges, please note down your questions in the chat box while I actually ask Keagan some question over here. Now, Keagan, just now, just to clarify, the model, the illustration that you have made is just an example of the case, right? Because not necessarily the service provider or the technology service provider would be invoicing in that particular period, in that particular interval. Some of it might be later, some of it might be earlier. It depends on the project, it depends on the service provider. Am I correct to say that?
Yes, you are correct. You hit at a very correct point, King Tech, because you see, under the Smart Forward program, right, there's plenty. There are a few drivers that's participating in this program. Now, of course, certain solutions provider have different project, different products, and different system, right? Now, some might take longer, some might take shorter. It all depends on the drivers or the solutions provider, their billing or their project or their payment milestones. That's where how we scale up towards that. Now, of course, there are some payment milestone that comes like the first before kickoff. I'll take a 30% of the total project cost, and subsequently 50%, reducing to 20% at the end of the day. So our that what I've shown just now is just a illustration purposes. But I mean, we can work very closely with the drivers, and whenever they invoice the SME, that's where when the SME need funding, that's where we work out the calculation for them.
So you are saying that the interest will only be charged when you actually draw down. Okay, in my financial last time over in bank before, draw down whereby that let's say if the service provider, this is the second payment, I invoice the SME 200,000. So you will go and collect you will solicit the fund for 200,000. So then I pay the service provider. That is when it is considered that you are getting the loan from Cofundr, and the interest start from there.
Correct. Yeah, you use a very good layman terms because I mean we in P2P has been used in some of the jargons, but drawdown is a very correct word to use there.
Okay, good. Now I also see some of the figures over here. Now I'm bad with maths and so forth, but just I mentioned that the SMEs can enjoy the interest of as low as 2%. Now the question is that there are so many options of the financing. You can go for banks, you can go for whatever SME bank or whatever. Are you okay to share, to do some basic comparison in terms of the rates or of the process and so forth?
Yeah, sure. Can take. Be more than happy to. Now, of course, first of all, don't take us as we're competing with the financial institution or the bank. Okay, we work with. We are here. P2P is here to bridge the gap that some of the banks that does not loan to some of the SMEs out there. Right now, when you come to talk about financing rate as of today, I mean, like with the recent announcement by Bank Negara, the increase of the basis point. Now, this program under Smart Forward program, right, it's actually very competitive because right now you're talking about the bank has start to increase their BLR, the base lending rate, right? Now, then second of all, if you talk about why SME want to choose Cofundr versus the bank. Now, if you look at my very last slide, the time frame that we use to evaluate a case, okay, of an SME all the way to disbursement, it could, if subject to all the documentation is complete, right, it could probably just take how long? Maybe 3 weeks to a month. Now, if you go to a bank today and you say you will get funding for such program or such initiative to kickstart your adoption of Industry 4.0, now the evaluation, the checking of your audited accounts, the records and everything, and then they come back to you, they pass it to the credit case manager, and then they pass it to a higher level authority to evaluate that case. Maybe when they tell you it's being approved, it could be more than 1.5 months. They tell you, oh, now it's approved. Now we are processing it, waiting for the drawdown. It could be another few more months. Now, of course, being Industry 4.0, you want to move everything fast because time is money, everything is cost. And with the adoption of Industry 4.0 as well, that's where you want everything to become more efficient, right? So we think that, being a P2P operator, will come into this. It's not so much of fighting with the bank or competing with the bank, but it's more like complementing that we give a faster approval process for the SME to kickstart this kind of project.
Yeah, I think, Keagan, what you say is correct in terms of the as fast as possible, because I actually received some cases, reference cases that they mentioned that when they're submitted for the intervention fund application, the cost of the devices or the equipment is, let's say, for example, 100,000, and then right now, after a year, things goes up, the cost goes up. So the longer that we delay the implementation, there might be a risk also that the cost of the project might be increased as well, because things are getting more and more expensive. So that is
Exactly.
also one of the concerns as well.
Yes.
Now, so again over here, let's talk about the rates of the subsidies of the rate. I would just use the first example of the, let's say, the 12 months example that you have just now. The first one is, if I'm not mistaken, is 14,000.
Yep.
Can you show that again?
Yeah, sure. Just give me a second. I can take. Okay, I think this is the one that you're talking about.
Yeah. So if, let's say, any of the SMEs, they wanted to get a financing from Cofundr to finance their project, for a project of 720,000, this will be approximately, if the repayment period is as such, then your cost of fund would be approximately about 14,000 over here, which is the cost, if the effective rate is 3.21%.
Yes,
okay.
correct.
Whereby then if they go for the smart forward participating drivers, then it will reduce to the next one, which will be
4,180.
4,100. So the savings will be approximately about 10,000 over there.
Yes, correct. Keng Teck.
Wow. Okay. Now, so that is quite a lot. That is quite a lot in terms of the savings over there. Now, the thing is that over here, the financing part, from my perspective, be it whether you go for the smart forward participating companies with subsidized rate, or without that, you can go for any of the service provider. As I said, we are just bridging the gap. We are not promoting the services. You can go with your own service provider. If you're satisfied with them, go ahead. It only costs you approximately about 14,000 cost of fund for
Correct.
you to benefit the 500,000 grant that the government offers. Because there were cases that that we saw that the SMEs told us that, Keng Teck, thank you very much for your help on introducing me to MIPT, MPC, and MIDA. We have applied for the intervention fund, and thank you very much, Keng Teck. We have gotten the fund approved. I said, yeah, very, very good. Congratulations. But then the second thing that they told me is that, Keng Teck, but thank you, but we are not going to proceed with the project. I said, why? Why are you not proceeding with the project? The grant has been approved. What's stopping you? Why will you stop? They said, Keng Teck, I'm sorry. My priority right now is to go for automation. I need to buy a machine in order for me to increase my productivity. I need to actually restructure my company, that my funds needs to go for somewhere else. So I feel that I might not be able to complete the project, because if I am unable to complete the project, the first 30% of the grant approved, the government can claw back, and it would not be good on me, because my reputation with the government will be very poor. I rather not take the risk. Because I don't have enough cash flow. So it's pity, because the grant has been approved. What you need to do is just to embark into the project, okay, benefit your company, your production, having a better yield, having higher productivity, complete it, and you will be able to save 500,000 ringgit, which you would definitely have to spend later on, even though without the government grant, because the trend is there. The trend is there. Whether you like it or not, all the manufacturers around the world is moving towards smart manufacturing. If we do not move forward, then we will be lagging behind. So sooner or later, you need to actually spend it. But since right now you have the grant approved, why not embark in it? And if it's a financing issue, right now there is a financing option. Frankly, myself, I'm also in talks with the MIDF, MIDF to see what are the alternative of financing as well. So the things that what we are doing over here is to see how can we bridge the gap so that give you minimal reason not to start. Now, I don't see any questions coming in yet. I do not know whether is too good or too bad, or you do not understand, or what.
It's too confusing, is it? But I do agree with you, Keagan Teck. I mean, what you mentioned just now. I mean, we are not here to sell anything. Okay, the drivers, even for Cofundr, we are not here to sell. We don't want you to the effort go wasted where you have get your readiness assessment report. You're almost like I could say 60% there already to adopt your manufacturing line into a smart manufacturing line or industry 4.0. And like what Keagan Teck said, you don't want to be left behind because the trend is going there. What's more right now with ESG and all this thing coming up, right? So you're almost 60% there. You got the grant approved. It's just that one little pain point that that hinders you because you say, oh, I don't know where to get my funding. Now, you talk about this, okay, even though you say, oh, get funding, I have to pay interest, even though it's not under the Smart Forward program I'm talking about, okay, the normal interest rate that we charge. You talk about this, like getting financing, the interest rate that I have to pay and everything. But imagine this, you implemented the project, this part of beginning of your journey to Industry 4.0. Right now, yes, I know that it's painstakingly that you're paying the interest, the cost has been, the money, the cash flow, everything has been done into this industry 4.0. But look at the longer tenure, look at the longer terms, the long achievement that you're going to achieve with the industry 4.0. You solve your cost, cost saving, labor intensive, and all these things. It's actually worth it. So what I'm trying to echo here is what Keagan Teck says is correct. Is you are at that point already where you already got the funds, intervention fund being approved by MIDA and things. Don't let that effort go wasted. If there's any problem or with finance, with funding, or maybe not even funding, maybe it's like any problem that you have, talk to us at the participation drivers under the Smart Forward. We're more than happy to help you. I mean, if you need more info, you can always go to the smartforward.my, the website, where you can look for solutions provider there. We are there, and Unify is there, MPC is there to help you to drive talent and everything. So make full use of all these initiatives that we have come up with to help you to grow further. Yeah.
Okay, there's two questions over there in the chat box already. Now, first one is from Shuhaida. Shuhaida asked, is the interest rate are paid after complete 10 months?
Yes. So the whole payment scheme is like it's going to be paid right after the disbursement from MIDA and with the interest rate and everything. So the repayment process is where it's a bullet repayment process. We call it a bullet repayment. See, where SME make repayment to Cofundr from the balance disbursement, including the interest and everything.
Okay. I hope that for me, I'm not in finance, but I don't really understand what is it. I minimize getting loan. Okay. So Shuhaida, I hope that Keagan has actually answered your question. Now the second one comes from T. T says that 500 to 150, 30% pay upfront by MIDA. Okay, 500,000 minus 150,000. Okay, which is the 30% paid upfront by MIDA. Yes. Balance total is 350, right? Yes, that is the grant amount. That is the grant amount. The balance is 350. But your project amount is definitely more because this 500,000 should only be 70% of your total project cost. So that is how it's calculated. So it's different. So if your project, that's why that I think Keagan was very smart that he put 720,000, as the project cost, because 70% of the 720,000 is about 500,000.
Yes.
So that would be the project average that the miner would be able to give you the max. The minimum project cost that miner would give you maximum grant amount, which is 500,000. So using this example, who's this Keagan examples of the calculation would be somewhat the cost of financing that you would incur. Now, if you have further question, please do ask Tia. I hope that I have helped to answer that question. Now, Herbert also asked, Herbert Go, okay? Herbert asked, if failed in readiness assessment program, then cannot proceed further any smart forward, correct? Wrong. This one I have to answer on behalf is that the readiness assessment program is a readiness assessment. It's not an audit. There's nothing for you to say that you fail or you pass. Okay, the assessment is to tell you where you are, what is your gap, and what is your opportunity. You will get a report for that. Of course, they would actually profile you to a different category. For example, are you a newcomer, or are you a learner, or are you a practitioner, or are you an expert in different way? Now, that is only categorization. So in different stages of you in the Industry 4, you would adopt different kind of the Industry 4 project that suits you, that would be able to help you to increase your productivity. So there's nothing about fail or pass. So you will definitely get a report, and that report, then you will actually go together with the technology service provider, write up a technical proposal and submit to MIDA. And during this time, it is where MIDA, whether they would actually approve your grant or not, what they will see is that whether what you wanted to invest in Industry 4 is in a similar direction what has been reported in your readiness assessment report. That's number one. Number two, whether you have the financial capability to finance the project. Well, I have seen cases that the company revenue is only about 2 to 3 million, but the company wanted to invest 1.5 million in the Industry 4. So I said, oh, this is ridiculous. Okay, you don't do business like that. So your sales revenue is only 2.5 and you want to invest 1.5 million in the Industry 4. So where do you get the money? How can you survive? So that's a second criteria also. And of course, whether the technical proposal that you submitted, whether you are actually just buying machine, or you are adopting Industry 4 technology, whereby there are 11 pillars of the Industry 4 technology. Because buying machine only, that is not in the scope of the Industry 4.0. So I hope that I helped to answer Herbert questions over there. Now, keep the questions coming. This is financial part. If any one of you, because just now, before we start, I think one of our friend over here have already gotten your MIDA grant approved. Is Azhar. Okay, Azhar Hanafi from PCSB actually says that we have gotten the approval from MIDA, so waiting for the stamping. Now, then Azhar, if you're still here, maybe you can raise your hand or open up your mic. Maybe you can share with us in terms of the how do you intend to finance the project. Then every one of us, other fellow SMEs, can actually help, can actually know better how to prepare themselves as well. Azhar, yes, I can see you there.
Okay. Yes. I mean, very interesting. I think one of our options to finance on the 70% that we have to go to Keagan, I think.
All right.
We will be contacting you.
Ken, we look forward to assisting you. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Asa says that, okay, it seems, okay, Asa, I just need the feedback over here. Is there any shortcomings from what Keagan mentioned, or is there anything that you like most from what Keagan has mentioned? Because again, as I mentioned, we are not pushing services, so we are trying to fill the gap. Anything that we can help the SMEs to actually to address their concern. Maybe for you, any other concerns that you have that maybe that we can help, or we can actually find some solutions, find some to talk to the agencies to actually help you to actually expedite your execution, because there are so many of the companies gotten the grant but have not moved. We do not want to see that.
Okay.
Asa.
The problems now is to finance on our portion of 50%. So with this program, it will help us or make it us less burden to start the project. That's all.
Oh, okay, good. I can see Steven is also here. I believe Steven should also gotten your industry forward intervention grant as well. Steven, you want to share your experience until right now in terms of your implementation, whether it's smooth or not smooth, any other challenges? Maybe you can share so that the other participants can actually benefit from it. Steven, are you still here?
I think he left.
I think he left, Steven.
I don't see his name there. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else who have actually already embarking into the industry forward, any experience that you wanted to share, please do share it over here. Maybe I would like to pick some ladies or some guys over here to share. Now, maybe I want to ask just now our rep from the NCER, Serena, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Serena, maybe from your perspective, because NCER is a North Corridor economic region, there are also quite a number of the manufacturers over there. Maybe you can share with us some of the concerns, some of the shortcomings that for them to embark into the industry for, so that we can learn together.
Actually, the problem is still the same. I mean, what you have said is already correct, because right now, after the COVID and all that, so financial is a bit tough for the company to pursue on this industry 4.0. So by having like Mr. Keagan, who will help them to to get the loans and also the financing, it will help, because definitely it will take some time for MIDA to reimburse another 70%, and it's going to hit the SME badly. So I think this is a good effort, and maybe in future, maybe we can, maybe we can have some sort of collaboration in doing things together, yeah, in the future.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your feedback. Now,
we look forward to that, Serena. Thank you.
Yeah, I would also like to hear from Mr. Satya from ATI. I met Mr. Satya in this, where is it? Nilai. Okay, he came for this industry forward roadshow by MITI. Indeed, Satya, would you like to share what's the progress of your journey right now? Indeed, Satya?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. So RA reports, we already have obtained RA report completely. So our next step is to get the solution provider. So solution provider still in progress currently, and we really looking for solution provider, the best solution provider. So we're still looking for it. Okay, that's
what
all.
would be the criteria normally for you, Mr. Satya, to look for solution provider? Or is there any best practices that you think that what they need to know, or the SMEs need to know, so that they would find a good solution provider? Some lessons that you learn or something, anything?
Yeah, solution provider, we have better knowledge or gain the knowledge from solution provider, more knowledge. And yet, when it comes to the financial 70-30, that's where we stuck.
Also there. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Mr. Sajat. So meaning that I think Keagan, I think that you definitely at the right track to actually address the key concern of the SMEs in kickstarting the project, because the most difficult part is the kickstart. I heard from some of the SMEs or some of the solution provider as well. Maybe the first 3 months or the first 6 months, it might be hell to you. Okay, because you need your human resources, you need your time for the meetings, you need to do a lot of migration of data. Okay, you need to get to know your solution provider better, and of course, you need to spend a lot of money. Okay.
Correct.
Yes,
No.
the first few months is a lot of hell.
No, I think it's a collaborative effort. Now, of course, I understand when it comes to certain adoption of or changes in your manufacturing sector or your manufacturing business. Of course, you will go through a lot of things. Now, but I think also we have spoken to a few. I mean, during this whole program, we've spoken to a few of them, and we can foresee that I would say maybe 60 to 70% they do not dare to kickstart their adoption of Industry 4.0 is mainly due to the financing cash flow, especially at times like this where we just recover from the 2 years pandemic lockdown. And right now with the Russian-Ukraine war, the commodity prices is going up, and things like uncertainty, and then Bank the Garages announces increase in interest rate. With things like that, of course, if as a business owner, you tend to be more careful in terms of your decision making when it comes to such kind of things. Now, of course, like I said, when you're at that step already where the intervention funds already been approved and it's already there, don't waste that effort that you have spent. Don't waste the amount of effort and money that you have spent to get to that point. That's the very last point that Cofundr and the Smart Forward participation drivers are here to help you to drive that journey. To accelerate that journey for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Serena have a question. That question that I also will be asked. One question from Serena would like to understand why the financing initiative is only valid until 31st August.
Right, great. Now, because you see, we tend to know that. I mean, we got some feedback that there has been already 200 approved funds by MIDA over there. Now, we want to set some form of timeline. Because as you know, the MIDA grant given is there has a time. It's time bounded. It's within 1 year or 12 months. You have to implement this project and everything. Now, if we don't put a time frame there, those SME or manufacturer can take their own sweet time. We want to create that some kind of sense of urgency to push that one step to trigger the SME. Say now, better come now, work it on everything. Come and talk to us as soon as possible. We are here to solve your solutions. Be it not just only financing part from Cofundr, other participation Smart Forward drivers as well.
Yeah, I think that I can help to answer that as well. Now, Zarina, as what you see the presentations from Keagan, the part of the cost of fund would be subsidized by these Smart Forward Industry 4 drivers. Now, they are also in business, so for them to subsidize is also a cost and the risk to them. Okay, and no one knows what will happen, how high is the price, whatever the cost of funds and so forth. So it will actually eat up into their cost. So for them to put into the 31st of August is actually about 3 months. So these 3 months is to be a test ground. I'm sure, Keagan, I'm sure if, let's say, for example, if the program have received a very good response, I'm sure you would be able to discuss with the Smart Forward drivers to consider extending it, right?
Definitely, because like you mentioned, it's a test ground for us kicking start off such initiative. And if it's well responded by the SME, well received by them, and it's able to help them, because these Industry 4.0 is some initiative by the government agencies as well as the SME to drive the Malaysian overall economic or manufacturing sector forward. So, to be a part of this, if it's well received, of course, definitely we're gonna extend it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, if there is there are some of the companies would like to know more, how would they be able to contact you?
Okay, for companies that want to know more about the Cofundr, they can always go to our website, which is at www.cofundr.com.my. Now, let me just share my contact again here, so that give some time for people to take down the contact.
Yeah, while you're copying the contact, I would just like to emphasize this as well. So just I mentioned, if you already have the solution provider that is not from the Smart Forward members, again, you can still actually approach Cofundr for the funding. Okay, of course, it might not be as a competitive rate as the 2%, but it is still availability of the fund for you to do that. Okay, but if, let's say, for example, if you think that, hey, the solution that your previous quotation is that you have not built very strong relationship with the existing service provider, you would like to explore more, do come to Smart Forward and ask some of these Smart Forward drivers to see whether, I do not know, maybe they might be even more competitive in terms of their solution, or maybe their solution might be more suitable for you as well. Because we did receive from, not I cannot use the word we did receive. Okay, from my meetings with the MITI, MIDA, and so forth, I do hear that quite a number of the companies that highlighted that they are requesting to change their solution provider for various reasons. Number one, some of the solution provider they are no longer there. Okay. Number two is that some of the solution provider says that, hey, I'm sorry, because the amount that I quoted last time is this amount, but right now I cannot actually commit to that quotation already. It's already past 1 year. I need to increase the cost, so they are unable to actually provide the services with the same cost. So that is another reason. A third reason is that some of the SMEs found out that these companies might have the solution, but they might not be able to give enough support. Okay, because bear in mind that it is very, very important factor that when any one of the SMEs, when you look for a solution provider, you need to actually look into this factor, which is during the implementation, you need support. After the implementation of the project, you need to continue to have the support. The best is that you would be able to have local support, so that whenever anything wrong, you will be able to tackle your issues immediately. So that is key. Now, it has come to 10 minutes before 5 right now. I would just wanted to, Penny, can you bring up the slide of the Industry Forward Roadshow? Now, also, Smart Forward is always helping to connect the whole smart manufacturing ecosystem. So over here is that the MITI is reactivating their roadshow. Okay, it started in December until before the Puasa time. Right now, they are activating the roadshow again. That they will go to various locations to promote Industry 4.0, to tell you more about the readiness assessment program, to tell you more about the intervention fund. They would have one or two of the solution provider that would share how have they actually helped their customers to embark into the journey. Maida will also be there to tell you about the intervention fund incentive. There might be some other banks or some other financial, or maybe even next time they might even invite Cofundr to share with the participants on how can you get financing. And of course, for those who have who already applied for the readiness assessment, already gotten the readiness assessment report, or already applying for the intervention fund, if you have certain feedback, certain concern, do not know how to move forward, there is also one-to-one coaching whereby many of the key officers from the head office will be going over there to give you the direct answers or direct assistance on how can you move forward. So take this opportunity. The next one that will be coming in would be on the 25th May in Kuantan. I'll be there as well. If you are there, say hi to me, then we can chat. After Kuantan, they will be going to places like Johor, Malacca, Kelantan, Penang, Sabah, Sarawak as well. The industry forward roadshow for the past few months, we have covered the Ipoh Perak, Kulim Kedah, Kuala Terengganu, and Nilai Negeri Sembilan. So the ministry is actually gathering the agencies to go around the whole nation to reach out to you all who have concern, who have queries, so that you can actually benefit from it. So please do take this opportunity to participate in this program. Should you maybe with this Penny later on in your thank you email, you might wanted to share the link for them to actually register themselves for this event. And before we end also, I would like to announce that today this event have only 1 week interval before our next. Usually our Smart Forward Web Forum is every 2 weeks, but because of the Raya time, we feel it's supposed to be last week, but I have actually recommended to postpone to this week because last week a lot of people still coming back from Kampong. The mood have not settled down, so we postpone to this week. Our next session will be on next week. Penny, can you put up the slide? Yeah. Next week, what we are going to talk about, it will be on the application, benefits and challenges of implementing IIoT in manufacturing. This would be actually presented by Emerging EPC, powered by Org Industry. Okay. For this one, from what I know, I'm not a technical person. What I know is that it is as easy as plug and play, whereby that you can just put in some certain devices, some sensors, and you'll be able to capture your data, and there will be a very comprehensive dashboard that would allow you to monitor the progress and the performance of your machines and on your factory. So do come and join us. The link is over there. You can actually type it in, or you can actually scan the QR code as well. So please, I would like to urge you to come in again, and please share this information to your friends who are in the manufacturing and also manufacturing related sector. We want our country to move forward. We are falling behind our neighboring countries. We need to move faster. We need to move forward, and we can only do this if we can do this together, collaborating and move forward. With that, I thank you again, Keagan, for your initiative, for what you have shared today. Thank you for your sharing, and thank you for all the participants over here who have been with us throughout all these different series. Do remember that if you miss any of the series, go to Smart Forward YouTube. You can still look into the what have we spoken or shared about in the last few sessions, and do share it out to as many people as possible. And we will see you next week. With that, me, Keng Teck, the managing consultant of Bizsphere Brand and Marketing Group, signing off over here as your host and moderator, and we will see you again next week. Thank you very much.